This is why I think I have obsessive compulsive disorder and you can't change my mind, nor can a psychologist. Hello, my name is Peter Z, Autist Peter Z. I've been diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder in 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2020. However, in 2022, I was not diagnosed with OCD anymore. However, I highly dispute this as being a false negative due to the professionals' inexperience with the disorder. So, why do I think I have OCD? Well, let's start. Since I was about 13 years old, there's a bit of general anxiety in here as well. So, this is all anxiety disorder symptoms combined, not just OCD. So, ever since when I was 13, I saw someone have a seizure, right? Saw someone completely fall to the ground, hit their head, start having a seizure out of nowhere. It was a grand mal seizure. Some dude who looked like a crackhead. Just all of a sudden, it was just like his eyes went like, and out of nowhere he just fell, hit his head, started seizing, and it was like so traumatic for me for the next 3 days. I forgot about it eventually, but then a few weeks after that, I started experiencing intrusive thoughts like, what if I develop? And then I realized, and then I went on Google and Googled what disorder causes someone to, have a seizure. What was that? What I saw, and then someone said, well, that's called a seizure. I'm like, okay, what's a seizure? And then I realized, okay, what causes seizures? And then it said a condition called epilepsy, and it can occur at any age. Typically occurs when you're young, so in your teenage years, or younger, or in your mid-teen years or early adult years. And then I was thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this. I would associate everything with seizures. Like I would, see a person in public and, you know, if they were slightly woozy or on drugs, I'd immediately get anxiety and think they're going to have a seizure in front of me. Um, I kept, I was just worrying for about 10 hours a day, like, what if I get epilepsy? What if I get a seizure? What if I, get epilepsy? What if I get, a seizure disorder? What if I, you know, just wake up on the floor one day soaked in my own urine? What if I wake up out of nowhere on the ground in public on a train? What if I wake up just on the ground not knowing where I am? What if I'm aware during a seizure? What if? And what I would do to um, relieve these compulsions is what I would do is I would you know, what I would do is I'd go on Google and look at the symptoms of epilepsy and convince myself that I have the condition, even though I don't. And I just keep worrying about it. And what I would do is I'd go on support groups and ask, will I have a seizure? And when people would always provide me with relief, like, we don't know if you will have a seizure, that would just make my anxiety like 100 times worse. But then a few people reached out to me and they said, it seems like you're going through a lot of time, a tough time. It's probably unlikely you're going to experience it. And I realized when I would get reassurance, the anxiety would completely go away. And then I felt like the compelling need to do it over again, over and over again. So 10 minutes later, the urge would come back. What if I have a seizure? So I'd need to go on the internet again just to get some reassurance. And it happened all over again and again and again. It was taking up 10 hours a day on my life. Eventually, I got over it. It was so bad. I used to pull all-nighters when I was a teenager, 14, 15 years old. I used to pull all-nighters. Then I saw a psychologist and they said, you have OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, pretty moderate, severe case. But we're not going to do anything because you're a teenager and you might outgrow it or just try therapy or CBT, but I never showed up. And then I started getting sexual thoughts, really intrusive sexual thoughts about my family members, and I used to think, wow, I'm a disgusting pedophile, I'm a disgusting, incest redneck from Alabama. Like that's what I thought. Like, wow, dude, how can you have thoughts about your family like that? And I didn't want it. And I tried to keep stopping the thoughts, but the thoughts kept coming and coming and coming. And to neutralize it, I really couldn't go on message boards because then some people would actually call me crazy and they'd actually say, wow, you are insane. You need help. You are crazy. You are absolutely insane. You are not, you need therapy. You are a sicko. That just made me worse and worse and made the experiences worse. And eventually I got over that too. That took over 10 hours of my day. And then after that, eventually again, I started worrying about my gender. Like, what if I'm not really a boy? What if I'm a girl? Like, I was obsessing if I had gender dysphoria or not. And I just kept obsessing and obsessing, obsessing and obsessing. Do I have gender dysphoria or no? And eventually, after a few weeks, it went away. And I convinced myself, okay, I'm probably not a transgender person. I'm just going through a confused state, and which turned out to be true because they went away. These intrusive thoughts, and again, what I do to neutralize these thoughts is go on the internet again. So basically, my internet was my form of compulsion seeking. Sometimes even flicking a light switch, and then I'd get magical thoughts like, if I don't call my mum at 2:30 p.m. when she's at the dentist, that is going to cause a car crash at 3 p.m. and something bad's going to happen. Or that's going to happen or this going to happen. And it just destroyed me, and I planned a suicide attempt. I didn't actually go through with it, so I saw my GP. I went into a deep depressive episode for 2 weeks, and then that's when he prescribed me Zoloft. And it took me a long time to start working. It took me about 8 weeks to actually start working. He put me up on 150 milligrams. I realized my social anxiety was better, my obsessive thoughts were better, but they were still there, still causing me, these worries. So he started putting me on antipsychotics and stuff, and that really helped me. And eventually, I went 3 years without experiencing any symptom, and then after 3 or 4 years, the medication started becoming ineffective, and then it just became bad again, really bad. I have episodes again for 6 or 7 hours a day for maybe a week, and then I'd go away again for maybe 6 months or 7 months, come back again, and switch me to another medication. It stopped again, and then it sort of changed from, and I also couldn't leave the house because I thought like if I don't disconnect the electricity, the house is going to burn down. And I left home, and while leaving home, I had so much anxiety. I was trembling. I went back home just to check to make sure the house isn't on fire, or if I'm going to be responsible for a house fire, or what if we're going to be homeless. So this is why I think I have OCD. And I still experience magical thinking like for example, my mum said, there's a lot of mosquitoes outside and it's only daytime. And my mind automatically connected that to, okay, there's mosquitoes outside. That means that there's going to be, so I have a phobia of bats, a really bad phobia of bats, an anxiety disorder which was diagnosed. And I was thinking to myself, okay, so if there's more mosquitoes now, what time is it? It's 4 o'clock. If there's more bats, if there's more mosquitoes, that is somehow connected to the bats. The mosquitoes are probably working with the bats. So that means I'm going to see more bats at night. If there's more mosquitoes in the daytime, that means there's going to be much more bats at night time. So this would be irrational for if the bats were, insect eating, because a lot of bats do eat insects. But here in Melbourne, Australia, we have fruit bats. They don't eat insects or mosquitoes. So it was a completely irrational, magical thinking episode. And I still get the what ifs. What if I was Caesar? So there's some health anxiety, hypochondria involved, general anxiety disorder. What if my mum dies? What if I'm, homeless? What if I can't find a house? That takes up a few hours of my day sometimes. All these thoughts. And so it's really up to you to decide what you think I'm suffering with. But I personally think I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I think that OCD isn't just flicking light switches. It's a complex mental illness and it destroys you. It's a terrible illness. I don't wish on anyone, and specific phobia is just as bad. All anxiety disorders are equally bad, but I think OCD is one of the worst and depressing. If you haven't had a depressive episode in your life, consider yourself the most thankful, lucky person in the world. A depressive episode is worse than having COVID or the flu. That's how bad it is. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say in another long video. So I probably won't upload for the next couple of days. So thanks for watching. It's 4 o'clock. My KFC should be here. So thanks for taking the time to watch my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.